Today on MTG Unpacked, we're taking a look at the new Murders at Karlov Manor Commander deck, Deep Clue C. So this is a green, white, blue deck with a lot of clue tokens and card advantage. Alright, so the commander here, Morska Undersea Sleuth. You get a Collector Booster Sample Pack, 100 card deck with 12 new cards. That's cool, normally they only give you 10 new ones. Deck box, 10 double-sided tokens, foil etch display commander, life rule, strategy, insert, and reference card. Alright, so let's get into this. What do they say here? Watch out for a red herring. They always have little puns under the bottom of the box there. Okay, so we've got our usual thing here. So get the deck out of here. And as you can see, got a lot of punch outs and dividers and so forth. Okay, so here's our deck. Here is the info about the deck. In here, what do we got? Okay, Collector Booster Sample Pack, the deck box, and Life Wheel is in here as well. So the Life Wheel here going up to 20 on that side and 40 on the other. Okay, so let's get into our Collector Booster Sample Pack. See what this is about. Give you a little bit of a taste of the Collector Boosters. So we've got an ad here. And 10th District Hero. So we've got the extended art version. Not bad. And Call a Surprise Witness with the magnifying glass artwork. Okay, and then we have our deck box here. Let's take a look at this. So we've got the commander on there. Alright. And let's see what this deck is all about. And is this a puzzle? I think there's a bit of a puzzle here. So we have Morska Undersea Sleuth, so you can read about the commander here. And then on the other side, Deep Clue C, so playing the deck. And then we have something very interesting here. Mystery File, the Confounding Kidnapper. Okay, so has anyone actually looked into that? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so then we will get into our deck here. Okay, taken me a little while to figure that one out. Alright, so we will cut the deck here somewhere in here. Maybe they're not doing that anymore. Okay, so the display commander is on the top now. They used to bury them in the middle. So we have Morska Undersea Sleuth, so thicker card stock on this one, so purely for display. And then the actual commander card here. So we have Morska Undersea Sleuth, legendary creature, Vidalcan Fish Detective. Interesting. Surprised they didn't do a merfolk. It's a mythic. You have no maximum hand size, and it's a 2/3 for 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate. So that means create a clue token. It's an artifact with pay 2. Select this artifact, draw a card. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Morska Undersea Sleuth. Okay, and our next legendary creature here, we have Sophia Dogged Detective, legendary creature, human detective. It's also a mythic, 3/4 for 4. When it enters battlefield, create Tiny, a legendary 2/2 green dog detective creature token with trample. So we'll keep our eyes out for Tiny. For 1, sack an artifact token. You get to put a +1/+1 counter on each dog you control. Whenever a dog you control deals combat damage to a player, create a food token, then investigate. Okay, that's cool. I like the flavor on that one. See what else we have here. I wonder if there'll be a whole bunch of dogs in this deck. We have Armed with Proof, enchantment for 2 and white. When Armed with Proof enters battlefield, investigate twice. So to investigate, we learned about that earlier. Clues you control are equipment in addition to their other types, and have equipped creature gets +2/+0 and equip 2. And next we have Merchant of Truth, creature angel detective. 2/5 for 2 and 2 white with flying. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, investigate. And clues you control have exalted. So whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each instance of exalted among permanents you control. Then we have a Serene Sleuth, creature human detective 2/2 for 2. When it enters battlefield, investigate. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, investigate for each goaded creature you control. Then each creature you control is no longer goaded. And Detective of the Month, creature human detective 2/3 for 3, has Ascend. So if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. As long as you have the City's Blessing, detectives you control can't be blocked. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. And Follow the Bodies, sorcery for 2 and a blue, has Gravestorm. What on earth is that? When you cast a spell, copy it for each permanent put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn. Okay. And Investigate. Then we have Tangle Trove Kelp, artifact creature Clue Plant. Okay then, 6/6 for 5 and 2 blue with Ward 2. At the beginning of each combat, other clues you control become 6/6 plant creatures in addition to their other types until end of turn. And for 2, sack it, draw a card. Then we have an Innocuous Researcher, creature Centaur Detective 3/4 for 3 and a green, has Parley. Whenever it attacks, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you investigate. Then each player draws a card. At the beginning of your end step, you may untap all lands you control. If you do, you can't cast spells until your next turn. And we have On the Trail, enchantment for 1 and a green. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. And Knowledge is Power, enchantment for 3 white and blue. Creatures you control get +X, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. So lots of card draw in this deck. Ransom Note, artifact clue for 1. When it enters battlefield, surveil 1. And for 2, sack it, choose 1. Cloak the top card of your library, goad target creature, or draw a card. And Aerial Extortionist, creature bird soldier 4/3 for 3 and 2 white, has flying. Whenever it enters battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may cast it. And whenever another player casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. Oh, this is a good one. Benny Brack's Zoologist. It's a mythic legendary creature, elf druid 3/2 for 3 and a white, has Convoke. So your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 or 1 mana of that creature's colour. At the beginning of each end step, if you created a token this turn, draw a card. Okay, so here's going to be a pretty good card draw engine. Oh, another nice one. Farewell. Sorcery for 4 and 2 white. Choose 1 or more. Exile all artifacts, exile all creatures, exile all enchantments, or exile all graveyards. Next we have Fumigate. Sorcery for 3 and 2 white. Destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Organic Extinction. Sorcery for 8 and 2 white. Whoa! Has Improvise. Your artifacts can outcast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1. Destroy all non-artifact creatures. And Search the Premises. Enchantment for 3 and a white. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, investigate. Alandra Sky Dreamer, another nice one. Legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard 2/4 for 2 and 2 blue. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. And whenever you draw your 5th card each turn, Alandra Sky Dreamer and Drakes you control each get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. That can be crazy because you can have no maximum hand size with the commander. Confirm Suspicions, instant for 3 and 2 blue, counter target spell, investigate 3 times. Ethereal Investigator, creature spirit 2/3 for 3 and a blue, has flying. When it enters the battlefield, investigate X times, where X is the number of opponents you have. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. And a mythic Finale of Revelation. Sorcery for X and 2 blue. Draw X cards if X is 10 or more. Instead, shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw X cards, and tap up to 5 lands. And you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Exile Finale of Revelation. And Kappa Cannoneer, artifact creature, Turtle Warrior. 4/4 for 5 and a blue, has Improvise and Ward 4. Whenever an artifact enters battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn. Mechanized Production, it's a mythic. Enchantment Aura for 2 and 2 blue, enchant artifact you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted artifact. Then if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game. And a Nadir Kraken, creature Kraken 2/3 for 1 and 2 blue. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Nadir Kraken and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Shimmer Dragon, creature dragon 5/6 for 4 and 2 blue, has flying. As long as you control 4 or more artifacts, Shimmer Dragon has hexproof. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, you get to draw a card. Of course you do. And Teferi's Ageless Insight, legendary enchantment for 2 and 2 blue. If you would draw a card except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. That is insanity. And mythic, we got Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh, legendary Planeswalker Tezzeret, 4 loyalty for 2 and 2 blue. The first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate, and his +1. Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. His -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness 4/4. And his -6, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. And Thought Monitor, artifact creature construct 2/2 for 6 and a blue, has affinity for artifacts and flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. And Hornet Queen, creature insect 2/2 for 4 and 3 green, has flying and death touch. When it enters battlefield, create 4 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. Joel Real, Monvuli Recluse, legendary creature human druid 1/2 for 1 and a green. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 green cat creature token. And for 4 and 2 green, until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Another one that will be out of control when you have a huge hand. Killer Service, enchantment for 2 and a green. When it enters battlefield, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. And food tokens are artifacts with pay 2, tap. Select this artifact, you gain 3 life. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 2 and sacrifice a token. If you do, create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. Tireless Tracker, another nice one. Creature Human Scout 3/2 for 2 and a green, has landfall. Whenever a land enters battlefield under your control, investigate. And whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. Another nice one here. Adrix and Nev, Twin Casters. It's a mythic legendary creature Merfolk Wizard 2/2 for 2 green and blue. Has Ward 2. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 2. And we saw Ward on some of the other cards here as well. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many tokens are created instead. So we're going to be having tons of clue tokens with this one. Alright, on to the next part of the deck here. We have Chilean Teller of Tales, another mythic legendary creature. Human Druid 2/4 for 2 green, white and blue with vigilance. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. For 3, tap, return target creature you control to its owner's hand. Disorder in the Court, instant for X, white and blue. Exile X target creatures and investigate X times. Return the exiled cards to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. And we have Essex, Fractal Bloom, legendary creature Fractal 4/4 for 4 green and blue with flying. The first time you would create 1 or more tokens during each of your turns, you may instead choose a creature other than Essex Fractal Bloom and create that many tokens that are copies of that creature. Ooh, Hydroid Crasis. Creature Jellyfish Hydra Beast 0/0 for X green and blue. When you cast a spell, you gain half X life and draw half X cards. Round down each time, has flying and trample. It enters battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. An awesome card there. Another nice one, Mythic Coma. Cosmos Serpent from Kaldheim. Legendary creature, Serpent 6/6 for 3, 2 green and 2 blue. This spell can't be countered, and at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 3/3 blue Serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. And if you sacrifice another Serpent, choose one. Tap target permanent, its activated abilities can't be activated this turn, or Coma Cosmos Serpent gains indestructible until end of turn. And we have Lonus Cryptozoologist, legendary creature, Snake Elf Scout, 1/2 for green and blue. Whenever another non-token creature enters battlefield under your control, investigate. And tap, sack, excludes. Target opponent reveals the top X cards of their library. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. And Sylvala, Explorer Return, legendary creature, Elf Scout, 2/4 for 1 green and white. Has Parley, so if you tap, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add green mana and you gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card. Academy Manufactor, artifact creature, assembly worker, 1/3 for 3. If you create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create one of each. Okay, and we can use, I think we can use all 3 of those. Alright, we have Idol of Oblivion, artifact for 2. Tap, draw a card, activate only if you created a token this turn. And for 8, tap, sack it, create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. That is insanity. Inspiring Statuary, artifact for 3. Non-artifact spells you cast have improvise, and we learned about improvise earlier. Nettle Cyst, artifact equipment for 3, has living weapon. So when this equipment enters battlefield, create a 0/0 black Phyrexian Germ creature token, then attach this to it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. Equip for 2. Psychosis Crawler, artifact creature, Phyrexian Horror, star for 5. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. And you could have a whole heap of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. And then onto a land here, Canopy Vista. It's a Forest Plains, tap for green or white. Enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Exotic Orchard, tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Irrigated Farmland, a Plains Island, tap for white or blue, enters tap, cycle for 2. And Prairie Stream, tap for white or blue, enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Scattered Groves, enters tap, cycle it for 2, tap for green or white. Skycloud Expanse, for 1, tap, add white and blue. And Spire of Industry, tap for colorless, tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color, activate only if you control an artifact. Sungrass Prairie, it's land, for 1, tap, add green and white. Temple of Enlightenment, enters tapped. When it enters battlefield, scry 1, tap for white or blue. And Temple of Mystery enters tapped. When it enters battlefield, scry 1, tap for green or blue. Temple of Plenty enters tapped. When it enters battlefield, scry 1, add green or white. And Swords to Plowshares, instant for white. Exile target creature, its controller gains life equal to its power. Erdwall Illuminator, creature spirit, 1/3 for 1 and a blue, has flying. Whenever you investigate for the first time each turn, investigate an additional time. And Junkwinder, creature serpent, has an affinity for tokens. So this spell costs 1 less to cast for each token you control. It's a 5/6 for 5 and 2 blue. Whenever a token enters battlefield under your control, tap target non-land permanent and opponent controls. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. An ongoing investigation, enchantment for 1 and a blue. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, investigate. And for 1 and a green, exile a creature card from your graveyard, investigate. You gain 2 life. Okay, and then on the home stretch here, we'll separate out the tokens. Yep. Okay, so we have Whirler Rogue, creature, human rogue, artificer 2/2 for 2 and 2 blue. When it enters battlefield, create 2 1/1 colors, stop to artifact creature tokens with flying. And tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. And Graph Mole, creature mole beast, 2/4 for 2 and a green. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, you gain 3 life. And Uvenwald Mysteries, enchantment for 2 and a green. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Wilderness Reclamation, nice one. Enchantment for 3 and a green. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. Wave Sifter, creature elemental, 3/2 for 3 green and blue with flying. When it enters the battlefield, investigate twice, and it has Evoke for green and blue. You may cast a spell for its Evoke cost. If you do it, sacrifice when it enters the battlefield. An Arcane Signet, artifact for 2, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Azorius Signet, artifact for 2, pay 1, tap, add white and blue. Simic Signet, artifact for 2, for 1, tap, add green and blue. And Soul Ring, I was wondering when we'd see this. Artifact for 1, tap to add 2 colorless. Talisman of Curiosity, artifact for 2, tap for colorless, or tap to add green or blue. It deals 1 damage to you. Talisman of Progress, artifact for 2, tap for colorless, tap for white or blue. It deals 1 damage to you. And Talisman of Unity. We've got all the talismans today. Artifact for 2, tap for colorless, tap to add green or white. It deals 1 damage to you. And Azorius Chancery. Enters tapped. When it enters battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Tap for white or blue, or white and blue, I should say. Magnifying Glass. Artifact for 3, tap for colorless, for 4, tap, investigate. And Command Tower, it's a land, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Crowsand Verge enters tap, tap for colors, for 2, tap. Search your library for a forest card and plains card, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Lonely Sandbar enters tap, tap for blue, cycle it for blue. And Path of Ancestry enters tapped, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. And Reliquary Tower, it's a land. Another one with you have no maximum hand size, tap for colorless. Seaside Citadel enters tap, tap for green, white or blue. Secluded Step enters tapped, tap for white, cycle up for white. Selesnya Sanctuary enters tapped. When it enters battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap for green and white. Simic Growth Chamber enters tapped. When it enters battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap for green and blue. Temple of the False God, it's a land, tap for 2 colorless. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. And Tranquil Thicket enters tap, tap for green, cycle it for green. And then we have basic lands, so plains, 3 of those, islands, 6 of those, forests. Okay, so we've got an upside down one there, so 5 of those. I'm not sure why that happens, that's a bit weird. Alright, and then we'll take a look here at our tokens. So we have a Drake flying 2/2 on the other side. We have a cat 2/2. And then Tiny, here he is. A dog detective with trample 2/2. Flipping around with an Eldrazi 10/10 on the other side. What a combination. We got the City's Blessing. And on the other side, a human soldier 1/1. Clue token. And we're going to need a lot of those, aren't we? Insect Flying and Death Touch 1/1. A Thopter Flying 1/1. Rhino Warrior 4/4. Okay. And a Thopter Flying. We got a Treasure Token on the other side. Tap this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. Another Clue Token. And Food Token. Pay 2, tap, sack it. You gain 3 life. Another Drake Flying 2/2. Oh, Coma's Coil. Here we go. 3/3 Serpent. Spirit Flying 1/1. And we have a Phyrexian Germ 0/0. Tentacle 1/1. And Coma's Coil again. And we got parts of the turn and popular Magic formats. Okay, so this deck seems pretty fun. You got an absolute ton of card draw. You're generating tons of clue tokens. And we also have no maximum hand size for a lot of this. We've got a bunch of flying creatures. And everything looks like it combines into a pretty cool package here. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. This deck's going for about 45 bucks currently. Has about $73 worth of cards, although that will drop in the coming days. And stay tuned, we'll get stuck into the rest of the Murders at Karlov Manor Commander deck shortly. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.